Hi guys, it's Ugo and welcome back to another video. Today I bring you a review for Lockjaw by Matteo Cerilli. This is part of a bigger book tour by Hero Voices. I will put the link for the tour down below if you want to see other creators talking about this book, and I'm very honored and pleased to do a book review here on the channel for this upcoming release. So, just for context of the book, the Lockjaw is a young adult queer horror book. And the setting is a small town where a bunch of kids are trying to defeat a monster. So, from the beginning, I felt very much inspired by by Stephen King. You know, the idea of a monster, kids trying to defeat the monster controlling the city. It was the vibe that was giving to me, and I was like, okay, I liked Stephen King. I didn't like the way it was presented for being so huge, so heavy, but I like the horror parts, and so I always wanted a short version of it, and I think this goes there. I think the idea that it passed through me on the beginning I was reading was like, okay, this is like it adapted for young adults, although it could be brutal and with queer representation, but it was the influence that I got, so I was very pleased while I was reading this. So the story follows a group of kids with Paz Espino being the leader of that gang who's trying to defeat the monster. So they are a little bit outcasts of the city. There are some segregations over there, especially with certain communities, and the Espino girls, Paz and her sister Marcela, they are a little bit of an outsider, especially Paz. She's been caught by the police lying and they never believe her, so she's definitely an outcast, and so her and her gang try to defeat the monster. And this comes because by, I believe it was beginning of end of the summer, one of the kids that was like an outcast, she invited to be part of the gang, so he had to go to this lighthouse at night to meet her, and he died, and she believes the monster killed him, and so she comes in with this quest. At the same time we go into this line of trying to feed the monster, there is a newcomer to the town, I think, Hasher, who comes, and we never know why he's running away or why he's leaving everything behind, but we know he has a dog, bird, and he tries to fit in the town, although he's definitely not fit in. So throughout the book we're gonna see the story told by different perspectives. We get Marcela, which is Paz's sister. We get the police officers, the son of the police officer, Beetle, which is another character very important on the story. So we going through this in the story and the characters and how they feel about the city. We see a lot of characters feeling the city and feeling the effects, and there's a saying that the city is good for you if you're good to the city, and I felt like that was really remind me of it, how it control the city, control the mind of the inhabitants and make them forget and things like that. So that's what I felt and what I was very pleased about. When you continue the story, you start seeing a build-up, and I was expecting a bigger build-up on that part. For example, I found some of the characters, we only passed through them, you know. It was not a very it was a deep dive on some themes, but I think it could have been more, or they could have been more explain the thing, especially towards the end. The end part was what troubled me, I think, the most, because there's like an epilogue with a time jump, which typically I'm not very fond about it, because it feels like you lost something and it feels like, okay, this is just a conclusion, you don't need to know the middle. But I felt like some characters, I wanted to know more about them, you know. I wanted to know more about their feelings and about their personality, and it was a little bit fast on that point, but on the same time it was intriguing to know about the monster and how everything is going to implode on that. And that comes for the big revelation, which I'm not going to display here, of course, but that part was confusing, because I was like, I'm confused, because throughout the story I was not aware of that, and then definitely caught me. I was like, okay, I need to reread this because I missed something. And then it clicked. I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. But it's not like, for me, it was not flashy enough to say, oh, okay, this is it. No, I had to stop, rewind, and think about it. And so I think it was very clever what it was done, and the twist really caught me, and I was like, okay, this is very good. It makes like a very interesting story and a very interesting twist on the story that I was expecting. But the moment it passed, I was like, okay, I missed something. I'm missing something. And then I got it up. One thing I think, because it reminds me now that the author does, is that he doesn't use slur words throughout the book. He uses paraphrasings or descriptions of what the words sound like. And I think that is very cool for the point of view for not triggering people. But at the same time, for me, who I'm not a native English native speaker and is not familiar with all the slang and all the slur words that may be used for all the communities and all the different, especially in English, I was sometimes caught off guard, like, okay, he's trying to say a slur, but I don't know what the slur is, and or my mind couldn't stop thinking like trying to find the word, but I couldn't find. So I think the idea was very good for not triggering people and to treat with respect, but at the same time for someone who is not a native speaker and maybe heard the word but never associated it, it would be good, for example, in the end, to have a glossary or have something that would connect those dots and say like, well, if you hear something like this is transphobic, this is a slur, this is, homophobic, and things like that. And I think that would help a lot, not only to understand but to grow, because I'm definitely not familiar with it. I try to avoid it. So I was like, okay, and I passed through it. But it's just a minor thing, nothing special, but it was like, okay, I don't know what you mean. I know you mean something bad, but I don't know what you mean. So moving on. In the end, the book is very captivating. It's very, very well written. I think the twist is there, but it will take you a while to get there, and I think the characters are a little bit one-dimensional. I think it's the only thing that I didn't like so much, is the characters are very one-dimensional, and the story feels like they don't give space to grow until the end, and in the end it's the epilogue, and I'm like, okay, I miss everything about that. I need something more. We see like 1 or 2 motivations for each, but then it's just that. You don't have a lot of a deep dive, maybe 1 or 2, but even there, it's very... everything is very subtle, everything is very on board. I guess this is because it's a young adult, but at the same time, I think it could have been a little bit more... how do I say this? It could have been a little bit more dynamic, The persons, the personalities, the feelings, everything could be a little bit more, not so black and white, more like a mixture, because that's how I felt. But overall, I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was a very interesting story. It really reminded me of It. So if you want maybe to introduce someone to to a little bit of a style of a It story, and for them then to read like the original It, I think this is going to be a great start, because he has the feelings, he has the vibes, he has like the same setting, and I think it was very good. Yeah, overall I really enjoyed it. I had a good time reading it. I had a pleasant experience. And yeah, I was really surprised with the twist and just the conclusion to the conclusion of the book, meaning that small epilogue was the thing that let me down, because even the overall conclusion I was like, okay, and then I think it was like, it was missing something. For me, you had like 1 or 2 more chapters to explain a little bit how it ended, and then you could go there. I think it would be very good. But overall, I think I will recommend this book. I think it is going to be debut on this month, on the June 4th of. This is going to be debuted next month, June 4th. So if you want and support this author, please go buy his book, go request it on the library, because I think it will be a very great story. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thank you so much again to hear your voices, to inviting me for this book tour and to be part of it. I'm really happy about that. If you want to know more about my content, follow my social medias down below. I'll have a ton of things on my Instagram and Twitter if you want to follow to more updates about my journey in my PG, or here on BookTube. I will try to post at least videos once a week or twice a week on Wednesdays and Sundays. I think that's the schedule that will work for me now with the PhD, because I'm starting to feel like I had a ton of work, so I'll keep you updated on that on another video. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in my next video, okay? Bye.